Welcome, adventurers. You have spent the past 6 months building your characters, sharpening your swords, gathering your wits, and proving your bravery in a series of quests to declare yourself to the world. Now it's time to take that experience, take your character, and begin your adventures in the official launch of Adventurerathon. The adventures are beginning. Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and I am the creator and one of the hosts of the Adventurerathon. This is a readathon I came up with last year and honestly blew me away at how much people were loving it. And basically in 2023 we had 2 rounds where we were doing character creations and you guys got to choose your character and then do a series of prompts that fit that character, be it an assassin, be it a warlock, a spy, a seer, anything like that, and then built your character ready for 2024 where we start the actual rounds of going on adventures. I do have some changes and updates and things to go through, as well as the format of this video, and take you through some extra bits, so please bear with us. There is quite a lot to go through, but I will get to everything. First and foremost, hello and welcome if you are new. The biggest thing you need to know is if you have not so far taken part in the character creation, please do not stress and worry that you need to build a character. You can simply just look through the 7 characters that are available and choose which one will fit what you want your person to be. I will talk in more detail, but there will be an option later on if you would at some point like to go and do that creation round. The Google Drive is still active and available for you to check. So if you have time in December and would like to quickly build a character, feel free. Otherwise, there are opportunities later on where you can do so. For those who have been here throughout the whole thing so far, firstly, thank you so much for coming back and returning to be with us for this round. But there are some changes you need to be aware of. There is a G drive which is linked below in the details section of the video. This takes you to a drive that has absolutely everything you will need to know. The biggest changes that we have are a couple of updated forms and some slight changes. So both of the character creation rounds are now in their own folder. So if you want to go and have a look at all of that, just go into the drive, click character creation, and you'll have both the June and September rounds on there for you to check out. There are some new rules because obviously it's a different format to the rounds this time and going forward, so there are slight differences in the rules, and I'm going to take you through the most important ones. So before you could swap your books out as much as you wanted and change what book you were going to choose, now you can no longer do this. You have one swap. So once you have created your TBR and decided what you're going to read, you can only then change what book you use one time across the thing. However, I will explain in more detail coming up, but there is a way around this where you can buy more swaps, but I will get into that further on in the video. There are still no double ups. This has not changed. You cannot double up on any prompts. Again, there is going to be an exception to this that will be explained later on, but base game, base rules, no double ups are allowed for any of the prompts. Moving on, we have the summary so far of what have we actually done. As said, we've done 2 rounds of this already with the character creation. There were 14 total characters, and then at the end of the second round I did a poll over on Discord and I got you to choose which of the 7 were your tops. There were 5 that came through very immediately as the most popular choices for the characters, and then there was like a 4-way tie between some, so I took the initiative and trying to come up with the most range and the most creative ideas of what we could do. I chose the final 2. So our final 7 lineup is Assassin, Hunter, Mage, Minstrel, Pirate, Seer and Sovereign. I do apologise if your chosen character didn't make it onto the list if you were an inventor and you desperately wanted to carry on. I'm so sorry. I know Wren lost their blacksmith character and we're a little bit upset about that. So yeah, I do apologise, but obviously on some of the rounds, the prompts are going to be very character specific and the entire round is going to be based on your character, and 14 different storylines would have just been far too much. So we did explain that in the second round that was what was going to happen. So again, if your character didn't make it to the final, I am very sorry, but you know, That's the way the game goes sometimes. But these characters are now ready to start their adventures, which begins the first official round in January. And that's where we're now going to talk about the January round. We are kickstarting Adventurerathon in insert generic RPG medieval town name here. This is where you are staying, where your character has been invited by the most prestigious adventurers guild to join them. So, armed with all of your skills and everything that you built and all of your experience that you have currently gained, you head on over to the guild hall where you are welcomed in, introduced to everyone and shown around. There is an on-site healer should your character need it, but you know, if you're careful, you shouldn't need to. But if you do, there will be an on-site healer that is free of charge and anyone can use it at any time. There's a blacksmith on site who can do any repairs and things for you, and there's a little bar and tavern, so if you need to quench your thirst or get some food, it's there, as well as some lodgings. But the most important things that you as characters will be interested in will be your guildmates, the bounty board, and of course the merchant, who is going to be introduced more formally by Jona because he is the one that is creating the merchant, and I pray for us all because I do not know what chaos he is going to come up with, but you will meet your merchant through Jona when he does his announcement/recommendation video. So let's break down the different parts of this round and what's going to happen. Similarly to the previous round, you are going to have some main quests as well as some side quests. The side quests, as with last time, are completely optional, but what is different is it's the same side quests for everybody. So it's not character specific ones like it was last time and that you could only do the ones for your character. This time you can choose any of them. As for the main quests and the main areas, there are 8 places for you to go, 7 of which have got prompts attached to them. The very last one doesn't have a reading prompt because it's a little scenario thing, but only one of those 7 is mandatory. So you can complete this round of the Readathon with only having finished 1 reading prompt, which makes it accessible for absolutely everybody. However, the more you do, the more rewards you are going to claim, because we are introducing rewards into this round in the form of gold. Every prompt you complete in the main quest will grant you 50 gold. Everyone will start with 50 gold when you enter the guild hall. Let's just say the Adventurers Guild, they're a little bit desperate. They keep losing people, and it's kind of a bit of an incentive. Join us, we'll give you 50 gold. You know the type. They're desperate. They need adventurers. So you will gain 50 gold upon entering the guild hall. After that, it depends on how many prompts you finish and how many bounties you pick up throughout the month. So, what are your main quests? I will shuffle over. Here is the map of your generic medieval town here with the region surrounding it. To the north you can see we have the guild hall. This is where your adventure will start. We have the Everglade. We have the Well of Fortune, Cast Village, Ilaria Ruins, the Sage's Retreat, Everglow Falls, and then finally down in the south is the Unknown Depths. You can go to these in any order you want except for 2. You must start at the guild hall and you must end at the Unknown Depths, because they are what will determine your future. And what do I mean by that? Well, for every single one of these, you will pick your location. That location will have a prompt attached, which I will go through with you very, very shortly. Once you have completed your reading, once you have completed your prompt, you then head on over to the Google Drive. There will be folders for each of the locations. You click on it once you have completed the prompt. Please do not do it before, because it will ruin the experience for you. There will be a little written up scenario for you, sort of just chronicling what's going to happen on this adventure, and it will give you a scenario of something that's going to happen while you are at that location. At the very end there will be 4 options. Basically it's what will your character do? How does your character react? What action is your character going to take? And these are kind of like personality based questions. So for each one that you go to, and when you do the 1, 2, 3, 4, you just keep a note of which option you choose, whether it's option 1, 2, 3 or 4. They will come in very useful. And also means that even if you only do one, you will still have one answer, which will determine when you reach the final destination of the unknown depths, there will then be a final route for you to take. This might sound a bit complicated and a bit confusing. We're going to go through the guild hall together because this is the first prompt. Everyone's going to have the same thing. It's not really a spoiler if I take you through. So as you can see here, we go onto the G drive, click January 2024 round 1. Then we have main quests, number 1, guild hall. So head into there. You can see we have a document here that has the scenario. Click on that and we can now see a document that opens up that describes the scenario. As you can see, introduction to what's available at the guild hall. The wording may be slightly different on the document and what's showing here to what I say at filming, because as of recording I haven't yet actually finished writing everything up. But basically you will have an option here. So it says here, you enter the guild hall. There are different groups of people congregated together. They are all waving at you to join them. Which group does your character choose to join? Group 1 are the group that are laughing, joking, they're having a really fun time. They seem to be very fun, very outgoing. Maybe a couple of them are playing on some loot. Some of them are just joking around, throwing food at each other. But it just looks like a really fun, easygoing group of happy, optimistic, fun-loving people. Group 2 are the group who are all sitting around. There are blades scattered around the table everywhere, and currently there is an orc standing up, showing off a great scar on his stomach and proclaiming, "Have you ever seen a scar quite like this?" So, you know, they're all comparing battle stories and war. There might be a couple of figures there with like hooded cloaks on that are still part of that group, but they're a lot more quiet, but they are still part of that kind of stabby-dabby group. Group number 3 are, again, quite jovial. Some of them are off to the side, some of them are a bit more quiet, but generally they are going through their bags. They're talking about some of the different leaves that they've collected. Most of them have got some form of animal companion with them. Someone's got a mini tiny owl that's just sat on their shoulder and occasionally nibbling at the person next to them's ear. And they're all just talking about their exploration, the places that they've enjoyed visiting, and the people that they've met along the way. And then the final group are sat over. There are books everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's quill, there's ink. These are people who are comparing notes. They're talking about studying. Some of them you can see are practicing with their magic and they're just sort of creating new spells or talking about what works. And then there's also like a couple of edgy guys who are talking about how cool necromancy is, but we'll glide over those two and leave them do it. So basically, as you go onto the doc, you read through, and then whatever you think your character would be more drawn to, make a note of group 1, 2, 3 or 4. Would it be Adventurerathon without editing, Kirsty? I forgot to give you the prompt for the guild hall. Like an idiot. So the prompt for the guild hall is to read a book that kind of matches the vibe of your chosen table. So if it's the table with like the studious academics playing around with magic, read a book maybe that features magic or is set in a school or is dark academia, for example. So yeah, find a book that matches the vibes of your table and read it. Now, if all you want to do is the one reading prompt, that is it, you are done. You can now skip straight ahead to the final quest. But if you wanted to read more, there are now 7 extra quests that you can do. You can do these in any order, like I said, as long as you make sure the Unknown Depths is your final quest. But there is the Elderglade, which is kind of an older bit, steeped in old mysterious magics, and some things have been going on. So head on over there if you want to explore that area. And this one, the prompt for this is to read a book set in a magical forest. Cast Village is a small coastal town, so if you are interested in smaller village adventures and meeting a range of different types of villagers, head on over there, and that is to read a book that has a place in the title. This can be a town, it can be a city, it can be a fantasy place, it can even be a more generic sounding place such as a mountain, hill, lake, village, anything like that. As long as it is a place you can go to. The word library will also count. Anywhere that is a place you can go to, that counts, you're allowed to visit. Ilaria Ruins is an ancient, old, crumbling ruins that is partially submerged in the middle of the lake. To go here, you need to read a book where history is prevalent within the storyline. This can be that it could be a multi-generational story. It could be that the main character is having to learn things about the country's history in order to move on for the future. There could be an ancient curse on the area. There could be a rebellion that's about to take place again. Anything where historical events within that place's history have an impact on what is happening in the current book. Sage's Retreat is a tower where many a wizard has gone for a bit of a break to do their research. And because of the amount of different types of magic that have been there, there's some interesting things that have been going on and reported. So if you want to go and see what's going on there, you will need to have a random letter generator. You can do this on Google, or you can just pick a number. But a random letter generator, and read a book that starts with that letter of the alphabet. The Well of Fortune, which is a magical well where the waters bless people depending on your personality and how you like to do your adventures and the type of magics that you use. It affects people in very different ways. So if you fancy going and getting a blessing from this well, feel free to head on down there. This is to read a book where the magic within that world has an actual source. So it's not just magic exists, but no one knows why. We actually know where the source of the magic is, where the power comes from, and how the world is affected by it. Next up is Everglow Falls, which is an area where there is a small waterfall that is always glowing, and it changes throughout the seasons, and it's a beautiful, magical place that is a top tourist destination. To read this, you need to find a book that has both a source of light and water on the cover. And then finally, once you have completed as many or as few as the quests as you would like, and you have your answers for each scenario that you find at these places, head on to the Unknown Depths. This is a dark, ominous cavern system that goes deep, deep underground. The further down you go, the more it splits, until finally there are 4 tunnels. If you chose mostly 1s in your answers, you will need to go down tunnel 1. If you chose mostly 2s, you go down channel 2. 3s, you go down corridor 3. 4, corridor 4. Pretty self-explanatory. And then these are the corridors that will lead you to the start of the next round, which I will talk more about in the wrap-up video. And this is why you have to do that last, because your answers from each of those quests is what determines which route you go down, which determines where you're going to start the next round. I hope that makes sense. So those are your main quests and your prompts. Side quests will be different. For the first week of January, you won't have access to the side quests. This is just so that you can focus on your reading, and also we can have a bit of a break with it being after Christmas and the first week of January, and just to let everyone settle into their reading and maybe just take it a bit easier. On the 8th of January, a new folder will become available in the G Drive labelled Bounties. These are where it gets really, really fun. This will be like a typical bounty board. There will be various options for you to choose from. Each one will have a little quest along with an amount of gold that you can earn if you complete that quest. And obviously the quest is your reading prompt. I will give you a few as an example, just to give you an idea of what kind of things you are able to claim and what you're able to do. We have the Crone's Nest. Clear out a hag's den because they don't really want hags hanging around cursing people. This is to read a book that features dark and evil witches / magic. So if there are witches that are not very good natured, if there are witches that are using blood magic, any of that kind of thing, witches that create curses, that all counts. Complete that prompt, turn in your bounty, and you will be able to receive 250 gold. We also have some non-reading prompts in there. For example, Written in the Stars, a local astrologer has said that there is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event where a comet is flying overhead, and you have been invited to go and watch. The prompt for this is to take a photograph of your night sky at any time during the month and upload it onto the Discord, and for that you'll earn 300 gold. And then the kind of like epic one, which is the most challenging one of the side quests, and honestly, I'm pushing you to go as hard as you can with this, is the Monster Slayer bounty, which is to slay a great creature. This is to read a book that is a minimum of 600 pages. And for this prompt, you will win the amount of gold equal to the amount of pages you read. So really, the more pages you read for this book, the more money you will earn. So if you read a 1200 page novel, you will earn 1200 gold. If you read a 600 page, 600. But the minimum has to be 600. And all of the prompts are going to have these kind of things. Some will be a lot more relaxed and easy, some will be more challenging, and the value that you earn will reflect those prompts. And like I said, so from the 1st to the 7th of January, you won't see those. During that week, we will release a video where we will at least let you know what the prompts are and give you some recommendations so you can prepare for them. And these will change every round. Some might repeat, some might come back, but there will be different side quests every round. And then what is the point of collecting all of this gold? Why are we giving you gold as rewards? Well, remember that merchant that I told you about? This is where they are going to come in to become your best friend. Because with that gold, you can then purchase various boons to assist you throughout this and future rounds. There are 9 items that you will be able to purchase, and these are permanent. These will be available every single round. We may add some more in as we think of them, but for now it is the 9. There are various amounts that you will have to pay. So some months you might want to hold on to more of your gold to help you with the next round. Some months you might want to cash in a big lump sum. It is completely up to you. All of these items can only be used once per round unless I state otherwise when I'm describing them. So each round you'll basically start with no items. The items that you will be able to purchase are as follows. We have the Deck of Hand Sleight, which is a bit of a play on words with sleight of hand. And this is you can swap a book without anyone noticing as sleight of hand. As I mentioned earlier, you can only swap out one book. But with this, for 100 gold, you can instead buy an extra swap and change the book that you've chosen to fit a prompt. You have unlimited that you're allowed to buy, but each one only has one use. So if you swap out a book, the deck mysteriously vanishes and you'll have to re-buy it again in order to swap another book. We have the Drought of Forgetting, that is 200 gold pieces. For this, it means that you can DNF a book and still count it towards your goal, no matter how far you win. Normally we say that you can only count a DNF towards the prompt if it's more than 25% read, but this obviously drops. So even if you've only read a page before you DNF, you can still say, I read that book for that prompt. But this item can only be used once per round. The Staff of the Wilds is 350 gold pieces. And for this, it is a wild card prompt, which means that for any prompt, you can choose any book. So even if it doesn't fit the prompt, you can just read anything. And this applies to the main quests and the side quests, but you can only use this once in every round. Editing Kirsty again, and Ginty. Different day, different editing Kirsty. But I forgot the Scroll of Reverence. So once per round, you can choose to replace any of the main quest prompts with a reading recommendation from myself, Wren, or Jona, who are my co-hosts. We have each on the Google Drive, which I will put a little thing up here for you to see and cover up Ginty, but each of us have listed 10 of our favourite books, so you can choose, instead of doing a specific book for a prompt, you can instead choose from one of those books and give that a try instead. That one will cost you 600 gold. I don't know why I forgot to include that one, but here we go. We then have the Mirror of Identity, which is 850 gold. And for this one, say for a round, it's not really a theme that you really enjoy, or you just look at all the prompts and think, I'm not really sure I want to do any of these prompts. Then instead, what you can do is you could go back and rebuild your character or make a new character that you can use going forward. And instead of doing the current round's prompts, you can follow one of the character pathways from a previous round. This is also great if you didn't get a chance to do the character building rounds. You can go back and do it now once you've accumulated enough gold. The Glasses of the Busy Reader is 1,000 gold. For this, you can double up on 2 main prompts. So where we've said that there is no doubling up unless you have one exemption. This is the only exemption. You can do this up to twice in a round. So, you know, there is a limit of how many times you can buy this item each round. So it just means you can't double up every single prompt. You can only do a maximum of 4 prompts that you can pair up. We have the Ring of Resurrection, which is 1500 gold. And that means that for any prompt in this round, you can replace it with any prompt we've ever done. So if you have a prompt that you absolutely loved from one of the character creation rounds, but you're not really liking one of the prompts here, you can pay it, cash it in, and you can swap it. No questions asked. Then we have Boots of Time for 2000 gold. This enables you to purchase a time card that allows you to either start the readathon 3 days early, or you can extend the readathon by 3 days. Again, you can only buy this once, so you can't buy it to do both. You can only do one or the other. But it just means that if you're an eager beaver and want to get started early, you can. Or if you are struggling with your reading and need a little bit more time, you've got an extra 3 days. Obviously, for round 1, because no one's had a chance to accumulate gold yet, no one's going to be able to buy to start this round early, but from the next round onwards you will be able to. And then finally we have the Tome of Masters, which is a whopping 2500 gold. And I worked out the only way in this round you will be able to afford this is if you do every single bounty and every single prompt. That is the only way that you will be able to afford this, so if you do go for it, good luck. What it means is for the round, obviously not this round because you won't be able to get that amount of gold, but for the next round onwards, you purchase this and you only have to complete 1 book for the entire round and side quests. You can choose to skip any quest, any side quest, but claim it as if you have completed it. So you could even end up finishing this entire readathon without reading a single book because you have got the Tome of the Masters. Why do you need to read a book when you have the Tome of the Masters? And you can just automatically complete everything and gain the rewards from that. There is a caveat, however, because you might think, well, if I do that, every single round I can just gain all the money and just pay it and never have to take part in the rounds. You only get once in a lifetime with this. So once you have claimed the Master of Tomes, you can use it once and you will never be able to use it again. You have to be very, very careful and really think about, do you want to pool all your money to buy that so you know the next round you are clear, or do you want to be a bit more careful with your spending so you can use it for other boons to help you in future rounds? I really hope all of that makes sense because I'm aware it's a lot of information and I'm now scared that I've overwhelmed everyone. I'm overwhelming myself, so let alone how you guys are getting on. And then the final thing with the shop, there will be a spreadsheet created. I haven't yet, so I can't show it here, or if I have by the time I edit this, it will be here. But for that spreadsheet, it's literally just for you to log when you purchase something. If you can just write down your name under the item so that we can see what items are being used, what people are preferring and enjoying, and it just helps us keep track of what items work and maybe what ones we need to tweak or change for the next rounds. And that's pretty much it for everything. There will be the live shows. We might not do it on the 1st of January because obviously New Year's Day, we might not go live then, but early January we will do the kickoff live. End of January we'll do the wrap up live, and there will be various lives throughout the month. But that will be announced and the schedule will be released on Discord and social medias at a later date. For the giveaways, there will only be sort of one main giveaway this time round. As always, there will be the form for you to enter the giveaway. You can only enter the giveaway for completing main prompts, so there will be a limit of 7 entries that you can do. And then we'll do that on the wrap-up video as we've done so far. I may do some smaller giveaways through the month, but that just depends on, you know, budget, time, etc. And then for events, we're going to be doing the cosplay contest. As always, that will be open and available throughout the entire month. There will be the side quests adventure chat. For some of the side quests, it requires you to take photos, so put them in there, and again that just shows that you've done that side quest to claim the gold. And yeah, we may again do a couple of extra little bits through the month, but as of yet we've not really planned anything, and with it being the start of the year, we're aware that a lot of you will probably have a lot of things going on with starting the new year, so we don't want to put too much pressure on all of you as well. As for recommendations, there will be a book recommendation video For my own sanity and my own well-being, I will not be doing what I normally do where I put all 3 of our recommendations in. We will each do our own separate video, so please make sure you are following both Jona and Wren below so you can get their recommendations for each of the main prompts. And then once we have announced the bounties in January, we will then do a separate video with all of the recommendations for the bounty prompts. So yeah, I really hope I've covered everything. I also hope that you guys are really excited and not too overwhelmed by all of this information. If I have missed anything and you're not sure, please do question below or over on the Discord. All the links to the G Drive, the Discord, everything else will be below. Thank you so much to Jona and Wren for helping me with this. Obviously, some of those scenarios that I was saying about will be written by each of us. So you might get me writing it, you might get Wren, you might get Jona. It's just going to be a really fun creative exercise for us as well as hopefully for you lot. I really hope you enjoy this. I really hope you join us. Please let me know if you are planning on joining. I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. And until next time, happy adventuring!